All right. Welcome back. This evening, I am going to be talking with Mark Darden, who is the creator of Guano Guy. Um, I kind of, I think I saw a interview that he did on that was posted on the Facebook IndieWire group that my friend runs, and then I kept seeing ads popped up, and so I checked it out, and it seemed something that was interesting. So thought it'd be, and I know that there's only a week left in the campaign, but he's right at the cusp. So if we can get him over, that'd be great. So let me go ahead and bring him in, and we'll talk to him about uh, Guano Guy.
Hey,
how's it going?
it's going good. Thanks for having me on. And yeah, you're right. We're really close, but we still need a little help.
Yeah. So before we start talking about that, I like to kind of see how people got into comics, and maybe if they remember the first one, or what inspired you to try to write your own.
Yeah, it's funny that I can still remember the store. Like I still remember the layout of like the Publix grocery store, and then you go this way, and there was a sub sandwich restaurant, and I always remembered it as a kid because somehow they were using Bilbo Baggins as their logo. I guess because they were the only one, and they just got away with it. But like Bilbo was holding a big mug of beer. And then there was like something, and then there was a bookstore, and the bookstore had, a spinner rack and a little shelf of comics. And that's where I first started reading them. And I read it was kid stuff. So I was reading Casper the Friendly Ghost, Richie Rich, and the Disney comics with Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck. And then one day I see Batman. I watched the Super Friends show, and I watched the Batman 60s show and reruns. And so I already really liked Batman, although those are very different versions of him. And they had Batman 404, that's the first issue of Frank Miller's Batman Year One, which was very different. And so I just picked up that issue because the cover's Batman coming down and in costume, and it's really, really cool. But then I got in the car, and as I'm flipping through it as a little kid, I'm just completely confused as to what's going on. See, like, if you've got a costume, why would you walk around without it? Like, and if you've got the Batmobile, why would you drive that junker car to go downtown? This doesn't make sense. And then some guy attacks a woman, and Batman jumps in, still, in his plain clothes, hits that guy, knocks him out. And then that woman and other women jump on him. And I'm like, this is confusing. What is wrong with these women? I didn't know what a prostitute was, or that the guy
this is nothing like the Adam West Batman.
No, and and then my sister snooped over and saw the comic, saw the word prostitute, told on me, and my parents took the comic away, and I didn't end up reading it till years later when I was in a comic store and was a little older and was flipping through and saw it. I totally had forgotten about. It was in there somewhere back in my mind, was that memory, and I was flipping through, saw that cover, and immediately grabbed it and got back into it. And then I understood why they took it away.
So are you a DC guy or a Marvel guy if you had to pick one?
I would pick definitely DC now. I used to be much more of a Marvel guy, but now I'm really an indie guy. I'm going back and reading a lot of classics again. I just this year reread the whole original Ninja Turtles run, and I'm rereading The Tick right now. And at some point, I'm going to go and read the Max. I've got that. It's sitting in my bin to be read. Go back and reread Spawn. I'm a big Savage Dragon fan, so I'm eventually going to reread that one again. I'm a huge fan of that one. I like all the influence that Eric Larson brought in. He had a real love for Kirby, and you can see a lot of it pop up in there. So it's a lot of indie books right now. Actually, I got Electra Assassin to read. I just got a big oversized one. Some of those big versions.
Yeah.
With the blown up art are really nice. Got Daredevil Born Again in the artist edition, the where it's like it's made to look like the actual drawing pages.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's going to be a fun one.
And so, what is it that made you want to, try your hand at comic writing, or what inspired you to, create your own character?
Yeah, I it goes way back, but when I was in elementary school, I started writing as early as then. I really dug comic books, and then I started reading. I saw the cartoon The Hobbit, which I thought was wonderful. So then I read The Hobbit, the book, and read it in a week, which shocked me. I didn't know I could read. It wasn't that I was fast, it was just that I just wouldn't put it down.
Right.
So I was shocked that I finished it in a week. I went on to read The Lord of the Rings, but once I read The Hobbit, I started writing my own stories and really took a love to writing and developed it through elementary, middle school, high school, and then some in college. Lost touch with it for a while because I was in the military and was just busy doing other things. And I always wanted to do comics, but I didn't see a forum to do them my own way. I didn't think I was going to break in with a big company. And then webcomics popped up, and I was generating ideas and teamed up with an artist. And I wanted to start with something kind of small and simple that I could just have fun with. And Guano Guy was kind of that thing. I was writing a lot of humorous material. And I also did stand up. So I married comedy and comic books. So that's why I kind of describe it as Seinfeld with superpowers. They're just such a cast of jerks in this book, but they don't know it. They're kind of lovable, even though they're jerks. So
Yeah.
the webcomic.
So it started off as a webcomic.
Yes, did it as a webcomic for a couple of years.
Okay.
And then wanted to do a full-length issue and start shopping it to companies, and got a few nibbles, but was never able to get it really through the doors. I a couple times would find someone who worked for the company who saw it and was like, "Oh, I love this. This is great. Let me show higher up," and then higher up would, "No." But then there was Kickstarter, and I started doing conventions on my own. I got my book printed and was hitting up conventions and was going into stores and just one by one shaking hands to put it on the shelves, and then really thought about the crowdfunder. And right now it's currently my third one. So this one, it's been a real trial, but I'm real excited for next year. Like, I'm already gearing up. The artist has already got some pages in. We got short story artists already lined up, and I got a cover I'm real excited about. As long as it comes through, I'm gonna be like a kid in a candy store about this cover. So just excited for that next one.
So kind of give like an overview of what Guano Guy is about. You've mentioned some of the larger, I guess, themes, or kind of the how the themes that you use to write. But tell us about the character.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's a lot like a sitcom where you could just kind of pop in. It's zany and it's funny, and you don't really need to know everything. You just can pick up the personality. But Guano Guy himself, his motivation is to be popular and successful as a superhero, but not for the purpose of helping people, but in order to get endorsement deals and fame and fortune. He's in it to get rich. So he's in it for the wrong reasons, but he does good. Just that's not why he does it. He does the right thing for the wrong reason, unfortunately. And then his rival, Mr. Marvelous Man, is a really powerful simpleton who keeps succeeding because he's got power and ability and a manager. And then I have a reporter character who is trying to use the heroes to make her own career. But it's going to be revealed pretty soon. She actually has the ability to do a whole lot more than report on the situation, and will get a lot more involved. So yeah. But she's a career-minded person.
So this is, as you were saying, this is your third Kickstarter. Is that correct?
Third Kickstarter, and seventh comic in the series. I did a bunch of all the online stuff. I ended up collecting into 3 comic books, and then I did a really big comic book after that was giving me a chance to try out a bunch of artists to try and find the new person, which I did, luckily, and we've been going strong now.
So let's talk a little. Can you tell me a little bit about the creative team that you've been working with? How did you find them? Well, obviously you had a you've looked at their art, but how did you initially maybe get hooked up with them, and what about their art style
Mhm.
said this is the person.
Absolutely. Currently, Alexander Unlin is the artist, and I was very fortunate. I was doing a lot on Instagram, and I came across his comic book, Fly Dog Man. So he also had a very absurd, ridiculous comic book, and I was reading it, and I bought his stuff and started reading it, and he bought my stuff and read it, and we just liked each other's stuff. He's one of the artists I asked, hey, you want to do some short stories with me? And he knew I was looking for an artist, and he threw his name in the hat. And when I got the third short story from him, it was like it took him a little adjustment. The first story, it kind of looked like he was drawing his character, but with my character's costume on it. And then the second one was better. And then the third one, I was just blown away at how good it was. And so we've done 3 issues together now. And the pages I'm getting in now for issue that's coming out next year are
Mm-hmm.
I got those, and they're blowing me away. He made another giant leap in style. So very lucky there. And then Maya, who's the colorist, I also found her online through Instagram, and she had really good versatility, and is easy to work with, so reliable. I hate to ask for changes, but occasionally when I do, she's real easy about it. So she's just been great, and she just keeps getting the work done and doing a good job, and that's very fortunate.
Yeah.
And then the cover artist, Ryan English, he's the artist for a different comic, The VGs, with his buddy Matthew. And so I also found them on Instagram, and then ended up doing some shows with them. And one show I showed up at, and he was like, oh, hey, dude, I did this for you. And he just hands me this art piece of the Guano Guy. And I'm like, oh, well, can I use this for a cover? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, let me give you some money. And he's like, no.
Nice.
So he's been good enough to do some covers. I think I contributed to. He had a thing he was doing. He was trying to raise money for, and so I dropped a nice chunk in there to really say, I really appreciate all you've done, and it was a really good cause too. So it was an easy win-win-win.
Yeah.
So he's been great, and then the rest of the people, I keep grabbing artists who they generally have their own projects, but like I get them in for a short story, where it's just another place for them to show their work and to do something a little different and fun. And I keep getting fortunate. I just keep finding good people and putting them in. And I hope these Kickstarters keep doing better, because if I can generate more funds, I can start paying more dollars to them, because that's where it'll go. But yeah, it's been fortunate. Yep. Yeah. Oh, I think you froze. Sorry. The audio go out.
For a little bit, but we were back, I think.
Okay. All right.
That's why I don't record live, so I can go in and.
Okay. Yeah. I just recently I was doing live readings on my last Kickstarter, and on this one I started figuring out how to actually make them in a movie program. So I do them in voices, and instead of me having to switch from voice to voice, which for 2 voices it's not too bad, but if I got to do 3 voices, it's very hard to switch. And now I can just read the lines for one guy, then read the lines for the next guy, and splice it together. It's so much easier.
So let's talk about the Kickstarter. You said this was the 3rd one, and I know we were talking before we hopped on here that you were having a little bit of a different experience with this one.
Oh yeah, absolutely. With and when we are getting really close now, Although some family stepped in to like, oh, he needs some help. Just nice of them, like just help me get through this one, and I'll do better next time. But yeah, it's a rough time for a lot of people, and has been for a while. And so there's a lot of people who liked the book, who bought it, who donated the last 2 campaigns, and were reading the book, and a ton of them. I mean, I would say 80% didn't return. But I mean, if it's down to how do you pay rent and get food, I understand. You can't pick. As fun as my book is, and I think it's great. If you got a few extra bucks, this is a good place to put them. But if you don't have a few extra bucks, yeah, get your food taken care of, get your rent and electricity. I understand, and hopefully next year things are better. And when I come out with issue 4, hopefully they'll be back, and I'll have issue 3 and 4 waiting for them.
So, what different pledge levels, or things things for people if they decide to pledge? What do you have?
Oh yeah,
for them to choose from?
Yeah, we've got a really good entry level is you can get issue number 3 plus all the PDFs. So you could catch up on all the books that came before, but then read that physical of issue 3. I've got issues 1, 2, and 3 together. And then if you want to get all the short story issues, all 7 issues, I got a level for that. And it's $40 with all 7 issues. So that's not bad, because it's close to 200 pages of material. They're oversized issues, a lot of them. A lot of them are 40 page interiors. Because if I'm going to do 2 a year, might as well do a big old school Ninja Turtle style book with a lot of stuff going on. And then there's also Guano Guy's crossed over into Geek Girl a couple times. So there's a pledge level with, there it is, Guano Guy plus the Geek Girl issues, which I think is pretty cool.
I was wondering, because I've talked to Sam Johnson once when he was doing a Kickstarter.
Yeah, Sam's a really nice guy, and he's another guy. I found his book online, started reading it, and then he had a level where you could pay for an appearance in the book. And I wrote him, was like, hey, could I just get my character in the book? That'd be way more fun to me for the character to get drawn in than for me to be drawn in. And he's like, yeah, I'll do that. I'll draw your character in. And then, have the artist draw it in, but
yeah.
But then he ran with it. And instead of just drawing him in, he's like, I like that, I've read your books. I like the character. I'm going to write him into a scene. And it was perfect. It was very Guano Guy-esque. Like nice. some real trouble goes down. And before Guano Guy and Mr. Marvelous Man can really do anything, some other heroes jump in, start saving the day. And Guano Guy's just like, they're doing it for free. That's the point of that. Get out of here and go home. There's nothing to be made here.
Yeah. Oh, I was kind of wondering if there was some sort of connection between the two. So that answered my question.
Yeah. So there was that, and then there was like a recap later where Guano Guy was actually doing some it actually used Guano Guy and Mr. Marvelous Man to kind of catch the reader up on like what was going on as they're piecing it together themselves, and so that was neat. And I hope to figure out how to get Geek Girl into the Guano Guy comic. It'd be interesting. He's kind of scummy, and she's more of a college girl, a little bit of an it girl. So it would be kind of like, hey, and she'd be like, oh no, you're gross.
Nice.
That would be appropriate. But come on, we have the same initials. GG plus GG. That's 4G. Isn't that what people want? 4G?
We don't want 5G. Just kidding. I don't.
Yeah. All right.
That's not me. So, was there anything else about that maybe we haven't covered? And I'm here in a second I'll give you a chance to kind of do the like a final pitch.
Mm-hmm.
But is there anything besides that maybe you wanted to mention that I didn't bring up?
Oh, the thing I really love in creating comic books is when there's epiphany moments that happen a lot, or like I'm just in the shower or I'm trying to work out and some scene where I haven't quite finished it, like the bones are there, but the just right line or the connection from it to the next scene, and then it just pops in my head and falls into place. I actually had one just before this interview. So I was very excited to like finally like, oh, that's what I need to do with that scene.
Guano Man strangles annoying blogger.
That I love that, and then the collaborative. Like I send stuff to the artist, but I don't get too locked into my dialogue or narrative, because once the art comes back and I see their interpretation, I'm gonna bounce off of it and react to it. So a lot of lines will get changed. Sometimes even story details get changed. Just looking at the art and being newly inspired. And I've mentioned this before, but I've been asked if I ask for changes, and oftentimes if the artist does something different than I was expecting, early on I would have asked for changes, but now I think, well, wait a minute, let me see if I can work with this. How can I change to meet this? Because I could probably write something far quicker than I can redraw. So, they got plenty of other stuff to draw. So let me see if there's a way I can work this and actually come out with something better than I would have had if they'd done what I asked for, exactly the way I asked. I tend to write pretty loose, though. I leave a lot of space for the artist to do their thing. I think they have more fun with it, and oftentimes end up doing more awesome stuff by me asking for less. I think the more specific I get, the more it shoehorns them into a box, and they're struggling trying to meet what I asked for, rather than just giving me the basic idea that I needed and then just going off and having fun with it.
Cool. Are you, well, I mean, you kind of covered already. Another question I'd like to ask is, what are you reading? But you kind of went over that at the beginning, so.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, a lot of stuff. Shoot, Black Hammer. Yeah, I just looked over. I got the giant library. Yeah. Black Hammer's a lot of fun, and I grabbed that library edition because, again, it's nice seeing them in bigger sizes sometimes. It's not for all comics. Some comics, like, no, I was good at that smaller, condensed size, but I'm excited about that.
I recommend anything by Jeff Lemire.
Yeah. He's doing well. He's doing real well. Rick Reteaka.
Up and cover.
Reminder, like him.
Yeah. Okay, well, would you like to kind of give a final pitch to the both people that are watching?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. As I mentioned before, I mean, it is so like if you were watching Cartoon Network or the late night Comedy Central cartoons, but it's that, but on paper. Like, it is literally a cartoon on paper with just puns and gags and sarcasm. I genuinely feel like if you liked the Venture Brothers, like I loved that show. It's definitely an influence. The Tick, the old Batman. It's just a lot of fun. Like, I think it's a comic book where I've had a reviewer before try to look too deep, and they were like, "Oh, what is this about?" I was like, "You looked too deep. You just had to see the surface level and laugh. It's just fun. It's you're taking a break from the day, and you just want to be entertained for a little bit. It's like that. It's so much more lighthearted and simple."
Well, I definitely think people should at least check it out, and if you're able, then to help him get the last few shekels he needs.
Yeah, and somebody did, which it's nice to see. Oh gosh, yeah. Just gotta get through this one, and then totally gonna do it way better next time. Although I'll be better prepared. I thought I was prepared. It's funny, I really thought I had the pieces in place, and then still ended up doing a lot on the fly. Although that seems to be every time. I'm always new things come to me in the moment. So I guess I'm always going to be somewhat on the fly about it.
Now that's kind of how you have to live life sometimes.
Yeah, it can't all be perfectly planned out. Check the block.
Well, I want to thank you again for coming talking with me this evening, and there's less than a week, probably a week or so left on the Kickstarter, and you're only needed about a little over $200. I'm not going to do math, so
Yeah, it's close.
I know that if you get 300, you're good.
Absolutely, yeah.
But I hope you enjoyed talking. I enjoyed talking to you, and your next time you do another Kickstarter, maybe we can come back and chat some more.
Absolutely. I would love that. I will arrange in advance next time. Well in advance. Thank you so much for
I'll stop lurking and I'll stop lurking and actually see if you're interested next time.
Oh, no. Very much appreciated. It helps so much to have a chance to get in front of audiences and just tell them about how much I love my book, and hopefully they'll love it too.
All right. Well, I hope I'll try to have this up within the next couple of days. I know I don't like putting stuff up on the weekend, but since you're so close, I think that I'll push it first part of the week too. So.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that'll be very, very, very helpful.
Well, stay safe, stay healthy, and hope to talk to you again. And maybe one day in the far future, we might meet at a con.
Oh, yeah. I'll be happy to get back to cons when that's a safe thing to do.
All right. Well, have a good evening.
Appreciate it. Thank you for having me on, Chicks. Thank you so much.
Right.
Have a good evening.